Rahubat, Mavoika, bienvenido and welcome, four languages. How you guys doing, man? Hey, I woke up to some very strange occurrence around me. Facebook is down. I don't know what happened. This is being recorded, so hopefully maybe later on this will be put on Facebook. So the title of this discussion is Black Magic or Natural Nature Magic, which they call Black Magic. We're gonna White Magic. We're gonna define the differences before that, okay? And so this is a presentation about the natural nature magic that exists all around us. You know what I'm saying? And how we can harness it on a personal level and also on a group level and at a global level. You know what I'm saying? And, I'm using the word magic because it defines what it is. If you want to define the word magic, we can go ahead and do that. I don't know if I just defined it I think I defined it in my presentation. So we're going to leave that to the end. But anyway, in the story of Aset and Usir, right? And Set having a conflict with Usar and cut him into pieces. And so Aset was able to combine that together. Now, these are all symbolically, okay? We're going to go in depth later on about that story. Really, really in depth. But the idea is that she went to Ra, the sun deity, for the word of power. She wanted to, and listen to the words. Word is a frequency, it's a tonality, right? Word, right? She wanted that tone of power to bring back to life Assad, Usir, bring him back to life. And so we're going to discuss this word of power. Many of people have searched for it, but it's right there in front of us. Right there in front of us. It's just that to harness it, to use it takes certain individuals to actually harness it, you know what I'm saying? And to use it for all practicality reasons. So we just want to scratch the surface of it. It goes really, really deep. I can't reveal certain things, but I think that when you look at this presentation, it'll give you an overall view, broader view, an overall view of this power, this magnetic, magic, etheric power that we all have. You know what I'm saying? And so to start, let me share my screen. Hold on one second. See, share screen. I'm gonna share this screen. I want to share that. I'm gonna bring this up, and hopefully, I can't see myself, but it should be on the screen. Okay. Let's see if we can. There you go. Okay. Now, a tonality. Ya, ye, hu, hua, oh, hu, oh, he. And then you have ya, ye, sai, sia, right? Ya, ye, hi, ka, hika. And we're going to define those. Okay, we're going to go over it. These are the three power, the three words, incantation of power, okay, of magical power. And bear with me, we're going to go over it, right? So, we're going to go over whoever. That's the symbol for hui, hua, the force of creative will. A force of creative will. Now, this is just a part of the overall magical manifestation, right? So we have hua, a tone, a force. And when we read on, this force is electromagnetic magic wave frequency that's being funneled through our sun, or we call it the star. right? That's what this force is, right? It's manifesting as a light spectrum, protons, and sonons, phonons, which are carriers of consciousness, which are ideas and concepts, and submerge consciousness, which are feelings that forms habit, your habitual nature, your submerged consciousness, what they call the subconscious, right? That abdominal mind. Consciousness and submerged consciousness, in which we say subconsciousness, right? Consciousness and subconsciousness, which is a submerged consciousness, right? Are instructions for conditioning. Now, I choose these words very carefully when I wrote this. Instructions for conditioning, okay? These waves carry these instructions. Protons and phonons carry the carriers of consciousness, ideas and concepts, and feelings, okay? It depends where the neuron is at and where it refracts and the neurons come to life, right? In light. Now, to be creative, when you look, so that we're looking at the force of creative will. Now, to be creative is to extract from existence and subsistence, or submerge existence. Every time you see the word sub in front of existence, subconsciousness, I also always refer to it as a submerged existence. Something that's underlying. It's there, but it's underlying an existence. You know, like your physical and metaphysical is a sub-physical existence, a submerged physical existence. Now, to be creative, to extract from existence and subsistence, submerge existence, and grow something, a sum of a person, place, thing. Now, the word create comes from a late Middle English word in a sense of form out of nothing, used as a divine or supernatural being from Latin creat, produced from the verb creare, all right? Produces. Creation is production, right? Now let's look at will, because we have the creative will, the force of creative will. So we look at natural nature's will. And what is will? Natural nature is a condition. And this condition is a state of something in regards to its appearance, its quality, and its working order. And it wills. If you look at the word will, it expresses itself in the future tense, like you will regret it when you are older, or expressing a strong intention or an assertion about the future. Like, come what may, I will succeed, right? Or expressing inevitable events, like accidents will happen. Expressing a request. Will you stop it? Stop here, please. Or expressing desire, consent, or willingness, right? Will you have a cognac? Expressing facts about ability and capacity. A rock so light that it will float, all right? And expressing habitual behavior, right? It's expressing it produced stressing will, indicating annoyances with habitual behavior describes that he will keep intruding, or expressing probability. So, in other words, will is an expression. So this creative force, this force of a creative will, this force of a creative expression, okay, is where this tone comes from. Hua. Hua. So this will is an expression. And to express, again, in late Middle English, is a sense of press out obtained by squeezing, used figuratively to mean extort. From an old French expressor based on Latin ex out, pressare, to press. So you press out, you squeeze. So this will, this creative force is being squeezed out of existence and subsistence. That's hui. So Express also conveys oneself, says, or otherwise communicate what one thinks. A squeeze, and you see in the second part, squeeze out liquid. She would express her milk using a pump and take it home for her baby. Genetic, also to appear in phenotype. So it's a squeezing out. If anybody, I suggest people watch. I suggest to you, KT the Arch Degree did a presentation about enzymes and did certain chemicals that are in the forgot. But anyway, it talks about how these chemicals, and also people speak about RNA and DNA, how there's a squeezing out of substance. You know what I'm saying? There's this ability to squeeze. Now, this all relates to Hua because one example that was given to me that's very, very interesting was that if you have a body, hold on a second. Let me get on camera. One segundo. Here you go. Let's say you have a body, right? Doesn't have any breath. They have a body that's dead. And so in order to resuscitate that body, okay, this is unconscious, that body, you put your mouth in the mouth of the body. And you go, right? You blow into it. That's Hua. And then you what? You squeeze. So when you breathe in, you breathe out. It's a squeezing process. Your heart also squeezes and presses to pump. The squeezing out, right, of life is Hua. Right? Let me go back here. So the electromagnetic energy is being squeezed out. So when you think of, you're thinking about this electromagnetic energy that's being squeezed out. That's just the force of creative will that's coming, that can be squeezed out of existence. Thoughts, feelings, whatever. Create. Yaye Sae, or perspective mind. Right? Perspective, Middle English, in the sense of optic, from a medieval Latin perspectiva, or science of optic, from perspective, looked at closely, from the verb perspecere, from through, specere, to look through. So a perspective deals with optic, looking, right? You're looking into whatever you're viewing. It is a noun and the art of drawing solid objects on two-dimensional surface so as to give the right impressions of their height, weight, depth, and position. A picture drawn in perspective, geometry, is relation of two figures. So look at what perspective is: a particular attitude towards or a way regarding something, a point of view. So you got point, right? Most guidebook history is written from the editor's perspective. True understanding of the relative importance of things, the sense of proportion. So what do we say? Perspective is measurement. Perspective is a measurement. It's a dimension. That's what dimensions are. So when you look at Yaye Sahaye, Asiya, the perspective mind, there is a measurement, there is a visualization. But I don't want to drop that yet. Look at mind, because that's perspective. Mind is Old English, Gemian, memory, thought of the Germanic origin from an Indo-European root meaning revolved in the mind, things shared, Sanskrit manners, and Latin men's mind. Okay, that's just an English definition because we're speaking English, so we're just defining those words. But you got to go deeper into that. It is a noun, is the element of a person that enables them to be aware of the world. So your mind enables persons to be aware of the world. So your consciousness is moving about in the mind. Remember, I always put down where awareness goes, which is consciousness, energy flows. Right? Wherever the awareness goes, the energy flows. And so the mind, again, a person's intellect, memory, if you go on and on and on, mind is a vast reservoir. So you have your mental, your mind, a reservoir of ideas and concepts. And in your submind, your submerged mental, which is in your solar plexus, you have a vast reservoir of feelings, right? That becomes habits. And also habits are there, but those feelings frequently happening create habitual conditioning. So mind is a vast reservoir. Then you look at the constellation, a reservoir of light beings, of stars. That's another mind. So there are many minds entwined into our perspective. You know what I'm saying? We're looking through these different minds, right? And when we look into the different minds, and we go on, Yaye Hika, all supernatural strength. We're going to put all this together. I'm just going into each one of these concepts, you know. Supernatural. Look at the word supernatural. It's an adjective, right? Of manifestation or event. Attributed to some force beyond scientific understanding or the laws of nature. A supernatural being. Unnaturally or extraordinary. I watch it. Unnaturally doesn't mean not to be naturally, because naturally is there, but it's undoing nature in a different way, reciprocal, right? Extraordinarily great, a woman of supernatural beauty. So that's just a definition how you will use the word supernatural. Now, strength is a noun, the quality, the state of being physically strong. All right, like cycling can help you build up your strength, or the influence of power possessed by a person, organization, or country. Strength, the degree of intensity of a feeling or a belief or fact. The cogency of an argument or case, the potency, the capacity of an object or substance to withstand great force or pressure, right? The emotional or mental quality necessary in dealing with situations, events that are distressing or difficult. That's strength, right? So when you deal with strength, right, you're dealing with a quality, right? So a supernatural quality. Now let's put it all together. So you have vocalization, which are frequencies and tones, protons and phonons, right? Plus visualization, which is the intent, right? Those feelings, those perspective. No, the visualization, the ideas and the concept of perfection. That equals manifestation, healing, culture, because that's the cultivating of nature. Okay? So the tones plus perspective equals culture. Frequency plus intent equals healing, which is vocalization, plus visualization equals manifestation. Electromagnetic magic. So in everything there's tone. There's protons and sonars. Everything has a tonality to it. And that tonality, when it becomes visualized, because you're able to squeeze it, right? Ooze it and squeeze it, and you have a visualization, that equals manifestation. That's electromagnetic magic. Bear with me. So Yahuwah, so say Yahuwah, Yahuwah, right? Oh, creative force of will is the vocalization, the frequency of the tone. Oh, Yahuwah, Yahuwah, That's a chant. That plus the perspective mind, which is Ya Say Ya Sia, is the visualization, the intent that you have behind it. So you say Yahweh, Yahweh, right? That equals a supernatural strength. We're gonna see how all of this relates to culture. It's magic, 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 magic. Incantation, chants, right? The tonality, and then with that tonality, the visualization. That tonality plus that visualization equals manifestation. And that's natural nature's growth. Everything comes as squeezed out of the force of the electromagnetic force, magical force is squeezed out. Everything, nature around you, squeezed out of this force. And then it visualizes, it forms itself into intent, a perspective. It's given measurement. Everything can be measured. That's to say mathematics is the language of the cosmos because mathematics is measurement. And everything is measurement, right? Everything has a will to it, you know? And that's the squeezing out of the tones, the essence of the tones, to visualize it, to create manifestation. Now let's look at black magic. Oh, 1 second. Let me play this, see if it plays. Black magic. When all of the possibilities, those particles of matter in a vacuum called space, is squeezed out. All the possibilities, those particles, those protons, those phonons, those newts, right? Neutrinos in matter. It's in a vacuum. That's what space is, a vacuum. It facilitates the movement of these particles. It's there. It's what they call also chaotic. It's there. But when it's put in order, it's giving a visualization and it's squeezed out. Let's think about that. So black is all the possibility of anything that can exist, just like silence. Silence, out of silence you draw sound, tones. Out of the silence. And you squeeze these tones out and you create musical magic. You muse, because magic can muse. No? Come on. Sorry. Now when we look at the occult, right? Because you deal with magic and then you also, that word's gonna come up. Occult, oh, this is a cult. You know what I'm saying? But remember, the occult all came from ancient Kemet. And occult just means supernatural, mystical, or magical beliefs, if you want. Practices or phenomena. So secret society, they study alchemy and they study the occult. Right? This is the Al-Nuwapu. You know what I'm saying? The studying of these supernatural forces that are mystical, you know, and they say magical. They're squeezed out in nature. Now, I decided to put this on, even though I'm not a big follower of the tarot. I don't get into tarot cards or Ouija boards, anything like that, because I don't like anything dictating to me anything about the future when you really can't change it, right? You know, you can just, it's about you now and how you change. But I wanted to bring this up because it's a symbol. This is a magician. We're dealing with magic, we're dealing with magician. And magicians have certain frequencies and tones in terms of protons, physical things, right? That they're able to visualize a different way and to help, they're able to influence your mind into visualizing the way they're looking at something. That's what magic is all about, you know? So they have these tones that are meant for you to listen to so that you can visualize what they're visualizing. You know what I'm saying? In other words, they hijack your perspective. You know? So the magician, give me 1 second. I wanted to do something. I wanted to read, well, what it deals with. Let me put this. Uno segundo. I wanted to read something up on here about this. Let me see. Is this up here? Okay. So that card that I showed you about the magician, right? The meaning of that card. I should also share this, you know? Let me see what I can share. See that? I don't know. You should be able to see that. Some magical keywords. So it deals with willpower, again, desire and being resourceful, skill, ability, and concentration, and manifestation. That's what magic is. Magic is a manifestation. Now the reverse is manipulation, cunning, trickery, wasted talent, illusion, and deception. This is when they flip the card back and forth. You know, everything has a dichotomy to it, especially when you deal with the occults. You know what I'm saying? Spells that they cast, people can cast certain spells, can also have a reverse effect. Okay? So the magician is one tarot card that is filled with symbolism. Okay? As you can see, the center figure depicts someone who will hold. Okay, I don't want to read all of this. But the most important thing that we do know about magic is that the central figure depicts someone who, on one hand, pointing to the sky, while the other hand is points to the ground, which is to say, as above, so below. So when we deal with magic, and we deal with magic incantation, is that as above, right? As those ideas and those concepts, it's also my feeling, my habitual practice, and my feeling to manifest something. Okay? Let's see, right there. So let me bring this back, Kino back up. So that's the magician. Magic. The magician. The reason why I brought this picture up, look at the symbol that the master teacher, Panaba Yanun, is wearing. Let's go back. See? Now you say, why is that? Well, that's the black light. You see them brothers with their head? This was the time, because in ancient Kemet they practiced. They look at the pyramids. They took what's in the constellation, the Arian and the belt, right? Those three stars, and mimic that on Earth, as above, so below. Able to bring these cosmic ideas, right, and concepts to Earth, and tying it all together. The magician, right? Remember I told you that Panaba Yanun was a musician. This man was a magician. Okay, he knew as a cook when he manifests the sacred ash. It's all manifestation. Okay? The magician. Let me let you marinate on that a little bit. And don't get me wrong. This is, you know, there's a brother that came on one time out of debate, and he decided to mention this. He says, look where he's getting this from. It's our stuff. It's our stuff. You know, the Germans went around and they took these concepts and they took it into their groups and their university and their groups and the scientists, and they came up with Morbius strip. Morbius was a man, and Morbius strip. This is Morbius strip. As the inner and the outer. The inner is the outer, and the outer becomes the inner, right? Just like as above, so below. This is perspective. Perspective, right? The part of realization. So you have also the tones of the cosmos. You're able to harness those tones, because remember, as they were building those pyramids in Egypt in Georgia, there was a tone always being played. The Om tone was always being played. Also, as Ansar, the Adhan for time for prayer was the tone, and everybody gathered to the tone, and we visualized this lifestyle. And also, around it, you heard a lot of the Oud from Hamzaddin, right? These are tones. Tones. Again, that's the magician. And you see, on top of the head, you see the Mobius strip, right? And then you see here the Mobius strip on the head. Okay. So remember that you are powerful. You create your inner world. When you create your inner world, the outer world will follow. That's the concept. So you create your inner world. You know what I'm saying? We was part of a perspective mind. We had a perspective mind when we went out propagating and we opened up the newspaper, and we wanted to build a hall of knowledge. We wanted to the vision was there. So the tone that we all had a specific tone, a vocalization. We vocalized what we wanted. So you have to vocalize what you want. And in turn, that plus a visualization will give you manifestation. Okay. Let's build a little bit. Let's build segundo here. Let's build a little bit. You didn't even see it. Again, like magic, occult, right? The ancient Kemet, magician, tarot card. You see the Mobius strip. That's what I was talking about. And you see this picture here, the magician, the black light. Remember that you are powerful. Create your inner world, and the outer world will follow. So let's put it all together. So you have magic is learning about the vocalization or the frequencies of having that frequency, right? What you want to manifest, right? And then visualizing it, you know? In anything that's being built out there, there's always a word that is spoken about it. There's always a idea and concept, and then the word is communicated. And when that happens together with the tonality and stuff, and more people gravitate towards that, then the visualization that you're able to present to them would manifest a lot of things. Everything around us, it's like that. This is the hidden mana, the hidden mana that we all have. And we're able to do this. We have that power. We have that power. So you have to guard your inner self. I was just reading about the commuting, a great book on script. I should have brought it up. Matter of fact, do I have it here? I don't know. I'm not sharing my screen here, right? Yeah, this is a great book. Great book. You know, communicating with yourself. This one is called The Art of Communicating. And it's great because when you communicate, remember that's vocalization. Oh, you're communicating. But it also mentioned about consuming with mindfulness, and that, you know, thoughts and ideas are foods. Because you're consuming and you're intaking it, and it has an effect on your mind. So when we all get on the same page and we're all ingesting and we're all being fed that's why it's important. That's why people read the Patarot. That's the reason why people read certain doctrine. That's why they're being nourished. But when you nourish with truth and facts, it's more powerful. Then you're able to manifest things in your life. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes that, there are some things that are being conveyed to us in certain schools of thoughts that are not actual. They're fractal. They're fractalized. They're lies. They're fractalized bits and pieces, so that we can't put all the pieces together. You know what I'm saying? When that happens, it creates a very unfavorable condition in us. And you always see it as mindfulness, you know what I'm saying, of knowing of your environment and knowing what to take in, because it affects. If you're a musician and you go into the studio, you have to be very careful who you allow in the studio. Very, very careful. You know what I'm saying? You can't have a negative person there because they're going to spill over that. You can't get drunk. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes drunk or drugs. There's certain things that you cannot do in the studio. Well, I don't want to say about drugs, but that's a different thing. But there's certain, the more holistic is your environment, the more healthy is your environment, right? The more healthy tonalities you're able to attract, right, and work with, right? The visualization is clear. It sparks your clairvoyance, and you're able to see a clear picture where you want to go with your music. And then that creates a manifestation, a magic. Music is muse. Magic is amusement. It's to muse you. Magic is like music is magic. It muses you. Music. You know what I'm saying? The magic of an amusement park. That's magic. All the rides and everything, that's a magical place. Disney, magical, right? Because they had a tonality. You know what I'm saying? They practiced a certain amount of tones and frequency that they wanted to create, and therefore creating this amusement, this magical place. Eatonton, Georgia, the same thing. This magical place. You know what I'm saying? Which, it is what it is. Sometimes you can create a magical place, but the people that are there in that magical place are not people that are in tune with it and do not resonate correctly with it. They can destroy it. A lot of communities, a lot of projects, a lot of communities have been destroyed because of the frequency of the people that were around. You know what I'm saying? And they created an unfavorable condition. That happens. So therefore, we have to guard ourselves. We have to understand that what type of tones and frequencies were ingested, we're being nourished by. And with that, those tones and what visualization are we able to utilize and use? You know what I'm saying? Draw it out. Write a letter or draw it out. You know what I'm saying? I have a board and I draw out my ideas and concept where I want to go into music and my lyrics. I'm squeezing out things and I'm seeing it. And you want to attract those positive tones and frequencies, if that's, you know what I'm saying, in order for it to be beneficial. If you're going to extract tones that are distorted and different things like that, it could be a little detrimental. You have to be careful with that. It has its place, don't get me wrong. It has its place, like in rock music, it has its place. If you want to do like Jimi Hendrix was a master of that, was a magician in that. He was able to take these tones, distortions, these overtones, distorted, and bring in these frequencies, and we're able to create a magic that he created in upstate, that big gathering they had. The Santana came out. It's magic, and so this is how the music industry works. So that's why I always say, music is a cult and stuff, and the cult, and in society, you know what I'm saying? The cult is everywhere around. It's everywhere around because that's mystical, that's supernatural, and there's people that are invested in looking beyond, transcendent, and squeezing out some type of ideas, concept that's beyond, and visualizing it and manifesting something new. Something new. something natural, actually supernatural. It's natural, but it's of a super higher consciousness. You know what I'm saying? Super high consciousness, and you're able to squeeze it out, draw it out. You know, visualize it, and then it becomes a manifestation. It becomes Ka, which is Ka, also is spirit. Your character and personality. It affects your character and personality. Your character and personality was squeezed out from all the genetics. You know, in that world of genetics, DNA and RNA, from that world of genetics and ancestry blueprint, squeezed out the spirit, character and personality was squeezed out. And so that's what you are. You know? And the more ancient of you that you are, the more ancient thoughts you have is squeezed out and on and on. And this process is life, breath, in and out. It's a squeezing process. That's it. So that's what magic is, you know. And black magic is that blackness is all the possibility. It's the vacuum. Right? It's all the possibility that can exist in there. It's like silence. You know, all the possibilities, and you're squeezing out, okay? Supernatural, because in the black, the triple darkness, it's a supernatural subsistence. And existence and subsistence, because you have it all around you. So when you're able to draw from that, you know, the tones, the frequently happen, those tones, those waves, you're actually squeezing out ideas and concepts, a consciousness, right? That is also a submerged consciousness, a feeling. And those feelings travel up to the heart, appreciation, great music, and also up to the brain, well, with the other mental reservoir, where your other vast reservoir is at, you know? And so the power that we have, again, prospectively, is to put that that awareness into certain areas we want to go. If I want to achieve certain things, I have to put my energy, if I want energy to flow to it, I have to, hold on a second. If I want to do that, I have to squeeze. But anyway, that's the whole idea. I mean, that's my presentation on black magic. There's more that I can go. There's more that I can do. There's more that I can say. You know what I'm saying? Let me drink a little of this. This is papaya with blueberry and sea moss. Papaya, blueberry, and sea moss. Sea moss regulates your weight. Sea moss is antioxidant. There's a lot of properties in sea moss. It's good, and blueberries is good, and also papaya. Papaya is very good. It has a lot of vitamin C. So I suggest people to go out and find that. So again, you know, this is natural nature magic, and that's involved black magic. And then you have white magic, when it's refracted, when you take colors, certain colors, certain colors, and you manipulate that. That's when you get white magic. But black magic is the drawing out. Remember, it's a vacuum. So when you draw out, you have that power. When you put your consciousness into this vast reservoir, whether in your gut or in your brain or in your heart also has neurons that's wrapped around it, because it squeezes. Again, that's the center. The cup squeezes out of the vacuum, squeezes out this appreciation. It's the center. Squeezes out as to draw from the feelings and draw from the ideas and concepts. So this is how magic works. You know, the magic of, and every school of thought, there's magic in there. You got the magic of Islam, or Sufism, to draw, and the tonalities, okay? When, the tones that the Prophet Muhammad heard, right? Those tones, and then he visualized those tones, he visualized it, and it became a manifestation. Magic. The followers started to follow him, or started to learn from him, because that's magic. And Muhammad Ibn al-Mahdi. Then you have Christianity. When you deal with the Christianity and you deal with the prophet, Yeshua or Isa, which is Jesus, you also see the magic. He was able to, as above, so below. He was able to draw life out. He was able to draw from a something beyond and transcendent and manifest it into reality. He was creating magic, natural nature magic. He was in tune with that. Also, when you look at the Israelites, if you deal with Moses was well invested at it. He learned it from the Kemetic, from being a student since he was a little child, and being brought up in the best schools in Kemet. And so he learned about the occult. And then when he met his father-in-law, who was a Median priest, their Median society also practiced a sense of an occult magic. Okay, and it deals a lot with going beyond transcendent. They were ingesting certain plants that took their mind to that beyond and transcendent, and then were able, if you're a type that able to take that and manifest it into some type of visualization, art, music, or whatever. Musicians do that, or you can do that naturally. Naturally, when you chanting, you diet chanting, and you able to see a clairvoyance and intuition, a clairvoyance, a clear picture, and you're able to squeeze this beyond transcendent substance. You're able to squeeze it out naturally. I've done it naturally. But there are mushrooms and DMTs, certain things that does this synthetically, but which Sacred Society does use it. They use certain plants, ayahuasca. They use certain plants. So certain artists know that when they in that world, they're able to squeeze out, visualize it, put it in an order, and manifest, and it becomes magic. Well, I've been here 49. Let me just do a little more. Make it a little less than an hour. But that's the idea. That's the whole, when we deal, that's that. And I want to say this, that to my Nuwapi and Sabian brother, Sabayin, Muspati brothers and sisters, Samal and Zamatet, that this, in Nuwapian time, a lot of times brothers can get caught up in the occult. Saying certain things, they misused it, or they receive a reciprocal of the tonality. It created a reverse effect. And when that happens, that becomes detrimental in their problems. That's where you get a lot of the problems and the drama and stuff like that. But in the school of Nuwapu, we were building the pyramid. It was the school of the occult, because remember, the occult just means supernatural, mystical, something beyond transcendent, something that is hidden. And everywhere this occult is practiced, everywhere, Freemasonry, in Christianity. Look at the Catholic Church. That's magical. Go to Vatican City. The tones of the Latin and the way they recite their Latin, their books, the Septuagint, of their books, and the way they recited those tonality, they created a world, a visualization, and created this magic. Magic. Go to Mecca. Magic. Right? In Israel, with the wall, they're creating a magic around this. You know, this is the occult everywhere. Everywhere. You know, even here in America, amongst Native American, magic, music, jazz, in music, magic. As I listen to Esperanza Spalding, magical. You know, you're able to squeeze these tones because of the constant, you know, feelings and habitual feelings that created a paradigm, and those practice that you master it, and you balance your ideas with that, your concept. Now you're able to squeeze out these ideas and put it into a piece. In the sense of Esperanza Spalding, with the bass and her vocals, you know what I'm saying, and put out music. You know, same thing with Dr. York. Was able to take these tones and the visualization, put that together and create a magic effect. Magical. That's what wooed us. That's what attracted us. That we're able to see the manifestation of this magic. And yes, it is the occult, because the occult just means mystical, magical. That's all that is. That's what they did in ancient Kemet. That's what the Native Americans did. You know, that's what the Celtics did. Every society, every civilization, every country have their form of magic. Nature has its form of magic. Squeezes it out. It's magical. It's just you have different forms. You have to be careful that it can become reverse, reciprocal. You know, reverse. It has a dichotomy effect. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of people out here practicing certain things that they learn, and they think it's because of the occult and this and that, but not realizing that it's not the magic that's not what they want to manifest. It's not what you want to manifest. You want to manifest something beneficial for everybody, they can engulf themselves in your magical world. Man, I should write that down. Engulf yourself in a magical world. You know, music, muse. So magic is musement. Muse. Magic is muse. Musement. You know, you go to the museum where all these different artifacts is a magical artifact that are there for your amusement. It's magical. You know? It's all around us. All around us. So that's all I wanted to say, go into. There's much more that you can explore with this topic, this subject. There's so much more. I wanted to do some sleight of hand, but I don't want to practice that right now. That's the art of deception. That's the art of deception. You know what I'm saying? And that's a different type of magic. You have the art of deception uses magic to achieve an outcome. Deception can use magic. You want to deceive somebody, you can use magical incantation. You can use magic to deceive people. And that's a problem. Because you got to be responsible for that. When you deceive them, where you're leading them to, where you're alluding them to. Are you alluding them into an illusion, or you're alluding them into reality, so that they can see the beauty of some things that are hidden also, and they can see the beauty manifest. So where's it going? Where's it going? So remember, when we chant and we do these tonality the right way, the more we learn about tonality, and the more we practice, and the more we master the art of tonality, we get stronger, supernatural strength. And I want to say also Yoruba too. And Yoruba, they have their tonality, their constantly, those songs, you know. And what do? Is they manifest things around them, you know. But we're going to go into another discussion about that, Yoruba and Vudan and stuff like that. That's a whole different type of magic, okay? That's, you know, that also has certain different effects depending how you use it. It's the intention behind it. So you can vocalize certain things, but what kind of intention, intent that you have behind that, you know what I'm saying? Because then you're going to manifest certain things with that intent, you know. That's why I told a brother, you know, you shouldn't worry about anybody. If the intention of somebody trying to put something on you is stronger than you and appeal to your weakness, then they're overpowering you. But once you deal with your weakness and you know your weakness and then you know your strength, you know how to balance yourself, nothing anybody can do, nothing at all they can say, nothing should be able to manipulate you. Nothing. You have to stand firm. You have to know your tonality. You have to know your tone, your own. You got to find your voice. That's the reason why you know, there's a practice. You're finding your voice. That's what you see, you know, and I'll drop it here. That's what you see a lot of singers that go. You should be able to hold a note. When you're able to hold a note, that means you have feelings. You have a soul. If you can't hold a note, so you have to find your voice. You have to tune yourself into your voice and find that and it deals a lot with breath too. Remember, it's the squeezing. You know, that's just an example of breath control. It's very, very important. You know what I'm saying? When you're dealing with your tones. And that's how I was reading that book and that I presented here about the art of communicating, the art of communicating. Very, very important because it speaks about breath, knowing about your breath and your visualization. Seeing your breath coming in, being mindful of your breath, so that now I'm breathing, now I'm breathing out. I'm breathing in, I'm breathing out. I'm breathing in. And then that point, that the in becomes the out, right? It's a very important point. That's where that's the key right there. I'm just going to leave it at that. You know what I'm saying? That's the balance, man. And that's where you can draw from. Squeeze that out. You know what I'm saying? And again, vocalization plus, let me bring that up again before I stop it here. Vocalization, which is a frequency and tone, plus visualization, which is intent and perspective. That equals manifestation. Healing, culture, the cultivating of nature. When I say culture, I mean cultivating nature. If you look at the prefix of cultivating and you look at the suffix of nature, culture, the cultivating of nature, that's electromagnetic magic. Okay? I'm going to leave it at that. Oh, and I don't even think I put it up there. Let me do that again. Slip it. Vocalization, frequencies and tones, and visualization, intent, perspective, right? So vocalization, the frequencies and tones, plus visualization, which is your intent, right? Your perspective mind equals your manifestation. So we find healing. You cultivate your nature, so you find manifestation. And that's all electromagnetic magic is, which comes from black magic, Kemetic science. Explain that in a very way. You're using this keynote, and I want to say that let's create magic every day. Let's muse every day. Let's keep that alive. You know what I'm saying? Let's keep it alive. Let's keep that creativity. You know what I'm saying? Let's keep that perspective mind. Let's keep that perspective mind together with that creative force of will, so that we be able to manifest the right spirits, the right heat, God, that supernatural strength that we have. Okay? Peace and blessings. Ashuk, 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 Ashuk. Appreciation. Pout. That's the key, the door to Yanin's heart. The expanding of appreciation.